It's the lunch break.
Back to basketball. Welcome in the Friday edition of the Lunch Break live on KDUS AM 1060, on the KDUS AM 1060 app and the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. The NBA trade deadline in the rearview mirror, and we get to focus back on basketball. We get to focus on what the expectations should be for this team moving forward. We get to focus on, the Super Bowl on Sunday. We get to focus back on the actual sports part of all of this, not the noise surrounding everything else around the Phoenix Suns. So welcome into today's edition. Hope everyone's having a great start to their Friday. The weekend just right around the corner. We've got you for the next 2 hours here on the show. Let's just jump right into it because there's a lot. There's 2 basketball games to be played this weekend, including one tonight, and there is still fallout from what the Suns did, or I guess did not do yesterday at the trade deadline. So let's get into today's Daily Special.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Yesterday, Matt Ishbia made what I would say is the first tough decision since becoming the owner of the Phoenix Suns. Because the decision to take a step back, the decision to hit the pause button, the decision to take the foot off the gas pedal is a tough decision to make, especially when everything else in Matt Ishbia's tenure as owner of the Phoenix Suns has pointed us in the opposite direction. It has pointed us towards all systems go, full speed ahead. All gas, no brake. That has been the mantra of Matt Ishbia since becoming the owner of the Phoenix Suns. Not yesterday. Yesterday was taking the foot off the gas pedal. Yesterday was, for a brief moment, allowing the car to just cruise. Not weaving in and out of traffic, not abruptly slamming on the brakes, but just a nice, slow cruise. That was what the Suns decided yesterday. It's what they decided potentially the day before when they, relatively speaking, stood pat at the NBA trade deadline. Jimmy Butler didn't walk in the front door, and Kevin Durant didn't walk out the front door. That was the toughest decision that the Phoenix Suns have had to make since Matt Ishbia has become the owner of the Phoenix Suns. Is it really that difficult? Take yourself back to February of 2023. Is it really that difficult to trade for Kevin Durant? Despite it taking Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, multiple first-round picks, is it really that difficult of a decision? Is it a hard decision to trade for one of the top 5 players in the NBA? You don't lose a lot of sleep at night saying, man, wish we didn't give up all of that for Kevin Durant. You don't feel that in the moment. And then you let that season play out and you say, we just need one more piece. And so in the moment, you trade for another superstar. You acquire Bradley Beal that summer. Again, in isolation, without the hindsight that we all have, that's not a tough decision to make. It's always easier to acquire superstar talent. If you are adding superstar, all-star caliber players to your team, it's really difficult for people to be that upset with you. In short order, Matt Ishbia added Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns. Those are relatively easy decisions to make. It's not that difficult to make those decisions. It's not that difficult to say, you know what? We are going all in. Don't care about draft picks. I don't care about young assets. I am pushing the chips into the middle. I am trying to win a championship. It's easy to make that decision. It's easy to set your franchise on that path, that course. What's difficult was a challenging decision. What requires a lot of thought is the decision that maybe you were wrong, that maybe all of this hasn't worked out the way you would have liked it to. And we all know it hasn't worked out the way this franchise would have liked it to. One first-round series win, a first-round exit in last year's playoffs via a sweep, getting swept out of the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. This has been a failure across the board. It's easy for me to tell you that it was a failure. It's easy for you to see with your own 2 eyes that it was a failure. It's difficult to actually go through with the decision of calling it a failure and turning the car around. I'm a pretty stubborn guy sometimes. If I got the GPS on and the GPS is pointing me in one direction and I miss a turn, I'm stubborn. I'll keep going in that direction, hopefully that I can find a little detour to get me back to where I thought I was going. It's very difficult for me to admit I was wrong and turn the car around. That's not an easy thing to do. Yesterday, the Suns took a big step forward in turning the car around. And let me tell you, if they kept going on the highway the direction they were going in, it was going to take us a lot longer to get to the destination. By starting the process of turning the car around very quickly, this team can reach the goals that they want to reach, and that is winning a championship. So yesterday, the decision to pause and reflect and take the foot off the gas pedal was a good one. It's one that should be celebrated. If you are a Suns fan today through and through, if you bleed purple and orange today, what they did yesterday or what they didn't do yesterday, you should celebrate. You are closer, in my opinion, today to getting this team back on track than you were 3 weeks ago when we were still debating Jimmy Butler coming to Phoenix. If you are just a Kevin Durant fan, I don't think today's a good day for you. I don't think yesterday was a good day for you. I don't think this week has been a good week for you. But if you care about the Suns logo on the front and not the name on the back of the jersey, then today was a good day. Yesterday was a good day. This should be somewhat celebrated because the Suns took it's a small step. The car, we didn't actually get off the highway yet. We didn't actually make the U-turn. We didn't get back on the highway going in the right direction where the GPS is supposed to take us. We haven't done all that. But we at least have slowed the car down from going 85 down the highway. We're going probably 70 now down the highway. And we're looking at everybody else in the car and we're saying, maybe we do need to get off the highway and turn around. We were not having that conversation 6 weeks ago. We were not having that conversation 2 weeks ago. So Matt Ishbia made a tough decision yesterday. And I boil it all down to yesterday. It's been ongoing for a couple of weeks. Yesterday is just when the deadline came and went without them making the move for Jimmy Butler or making the move of trading Kevin Durant or trying to make moves at the deadline to push further all in. They stood pat. They stayed with the roster that they had at this point, and they're going to attempt to see this through. Now, the reason why I'm not willing to say that the car is completely turned around, why I'm not willing to say that we've gotten off the highway, there are more tough decisions on the way. This was just the start. We are going to talk about today some of the tough decisions that are coming around the corner, that are coming this summer for the Suns and this front office and Matt Ishbia, because there's a lot of them. And there's one big one that I just think you can't unring the bell. And it has gotten loud very, very quickly on this. And I do think there's a little bit of damage control being done already from the Suns side of things. But yesterday was a good day. Yesterday, for me, pushed this team a small step in the right direction. It pushed them one step closer to potentially turning the car around and getting this on track. And we still have 32 games left to go to evaluate this team to see what they have left. And to let everybody know what's coming up on the show today, we are going to reprioritize a little bit. What are the new expectations for this team? What are the post-trade deadline expectations for the Phoenix Suns? Because I'll be honest, I believe in telling the truth to you as the listener of this program. We have to change up the expectations. We have to reprioritize today. We have to reset. We have to recalibrate. We spent a lot of time looking at this through the lens of trying to win a championship, trying to compete in the Western Conference, and everything that we've been talking about from the start of the season through probably about Tuesday has been through that lens. It is now a brand new lens. And today is the first day of that new lens. So we have to recalibrate. We are going to do that here today on this show with 32 games to go. We are going to recalibrate what we should look for the rest of the way. And truthfully, I think by recalibrating, by deciding on these new expectations, this might be, depending on how they play, it might be a more enjoyable 32 games than the first 50 have provided. Because the first 50, a lot of stress, a lot of frustration, probably a lot of anger. But yesterday for me, a step in the right direction. The first time for me that I thought this front office was finally seeing the forest through the trees. Because up until this point, it didn't seem like they were seeing the bigger picture here. That they were not seeing what you and I were seeing. But now I have the first data point. I hadn't been able to put a data point on the chart yet of something that this front office would have done that showed me that they get it. That they see the situation that this team is in. I can hear all the behind the scenes that they are disappointed, that they expect more. That's great. I agree. We all expect more. We are all disappointed. But you can't just keep barreling down the highway. Yesterday showed me they, at least somewhat, might be starting to agree with all of us.